So here we are.
We are at the. I mean, sorry, by the way, guys. I've got a cup of tea. I've got a
Same
honey lemon thingy here. Yeah, it's that season in the UK. Everyone's got something. So you're gonna have to put up with like hot sweets and honey and lemon drinks and things. It's just the way of it, I'm afraid.
Yeah. So here we are. This is technically, I guess, the final installment, at least for the foreseeable future, in this series.
Now. For now. I mean, like, Romulus did all right, didn't it, by all accounts?
It did. I went in maybe a little over expectant because I think because I really, really desperately wanted this to be something the others, the more recent offerings weren't. And I would say 90%, 85-90%, it delivered.
For me, it's more sort of 60-40. I didn't go in with expectations for this one. I really diminished
I do it every time. I do it with Prometheus, and I should have learnt my fucking lesson there.
Well, that's it. That's
Alien Covenant.
Yeah, that was where I learnt my lesson. So I did not go into this with any expectations. And I disliked it more the first time I saw it, which was at the cinema. I really took against it when I went to see it at the cinema. And I think it's going to make this
a lot more interesting.
Yeah, to be 100% fair, may actually not be due to any particular quality or lack thereof in the film. May be more cultural, because I am so burnt out on nostalgia and remake and dangling keys. Oh, look! Do you remember the 1980s bullshit? I'm so tired of it.
Yeah, I would counter argue that to say that nostalgia can be a good thing if it's handled appropriately. So, for example, not baiting, but actually infused within the narrative. So I'll give you an example. So much with every other film, I go in looking for certain things. Okay, so I was looking at lighting, I was looking at set design, I was looking at overall world building. Okay, those are the main things I was picking up on. And so for me, the nostalgia in that sense hit every single note it was supposed to.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I will say, one of the areas where this film is easily the best of the Alien films since Alien 3. I mean, like by a country mile, is in the technical. So in like the world design is fantastic. I mean, it really does. It has beautiful fidelity to the previous films, but also it just has its own identity, which I really love. I think the world building, the set design, the cinematography generally is bloody amazing.
It's essential in order to make you believe that you're watching something within that established context.
The world design is very good. It is top notch. I mean, it really is very good. Also, continuing with the positive, the alien itself, the practical effect, the redesign of the alien, of the xenomorph, is brilliant. What they've done is gone back to Giger's original painting.
Yes.
And it's got that slightly more elongated phallic head that the original painting has. And it's the best the alien has been for a long time. It's also shot beautifully, again, into how it's shot in Alien.
Yeah, with the lighting and everything, more relying on more what you don't see. And one of the things in its favour is they've gone back to using predominantly practical effects. Yeah, and they're very. And I'm sorry, it makes a massive fucking difference.
It does. It really does. I mean, there's weight here. There's feeling. There's just something about the presence of the alien. It's also, I mean, it's not just the practical effects. It's the way it's shot. It's the way it's shot, the way it's built up. It's that is very good. It is. In fact, I think like the first hour of the film is actually very, very, very good indeed. It has a lot intact. You know, the whole sort of anti-capitalist corporate.
Wow, you see, this is one of the things This is one of the things I really wanted to touch on. Is when I said about the world building, when the film, I mean, it's been out a little while now, so we can talk about spoilers. When the film opens, it opens on the wreckage of the. Oh yeah, sorry, but fuck anyone who hasn't seen it at this point.
We're going to assume if you're watching,
we're just going to assume,
yeah.
when the film opens on the wreckage of the Nostromo. And I almost gripped my seat for two reasons. One, because I thought to myself, don't do it, because that ship should have been vaporized.
Yeah.
Why would you have a debris field? But I was also clinging my seat because I thought to myself, oh, what could they actually do with this? That's
exactly,
at the same time, whereas I'm hesitant, you've also sort of reeled me in a little bit with that.
For my money, that is one of the sequences it could have done without. I don't think it needed that opening at all. Like, at all.
I
can profoundly disliked the reveal of the alien shape in the fossil. It's like, yeah, I know it's an alien film. Okay, we all know it's an alien film. It's called Alien Romulus. We don't need to
didn't really need much of the imagination there.
The xenomorph has been all over the promotional material. We know what the film is about. You don't need to show us that. It could have easily just started on the world, on the mining world, with the characters.
If they're going to show that sequence, show them cutting into the resin, but don't actually show anything past the laser starting.
Bleeding alien shape. It's just like, I get it. I mean, this is one of, I don't want to excoriate this film too much, because it does do some brilliant things. It really does. I mean, in comparison to the crap that has littered this franchise since
Resurrection.
Resurrection. This is like on another level. This is just another sphere entirely. But one of the things it does do constantly, and it really annoys me. It annoyed me both times watching it. It wasn't as bad the second time, but it did annoy me. It constantly tries to remind you you're watching an alien film.
Yeah. Now we were a little bit taken aback with the amount of continual references to the wider universe that there was.
The references, to the point
dialogue. The one particular line of dialogue where we both turned around and went, fuck off.
At all.
There's no context for it in this scene.
No, there isn't.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense for the character. The character doesn't operate. He is the best character, by the way. The android is great.
Absolutely.
He is the best character in this film.
And if it's also, it's the line that I'm thinking about that you're thinking about, isn't it? It's the line. It's like that had weight in a certain scene, in a certain situation, in a certain film that adds literally less than nothing to this. Yeah,
it has the effect of ripping you out of the fiction, because
that's exactly.
It's like, it's telling you, oh, you're watching an alien film. I know that.
I know that.
Because it's also, I mean, it's towards the end of the film, so we know. We get it.
Let's go back to the beginning and look at something else that the film does, which while I'm gripping my seat, I went, okay. And that is the cocoon. Right? Now, this raises some very, very interesting questions, because, I mean, I'll come on to this a little bit later on as well, but it introduces an additional sub-element of an alien's life cycle or abilities that were not explored previously.
I kind of like.
And I like that. And it raises interesting questions. So, what happened with the alien queen at the end of Aliens?
Right.
So
there's something left, right? If it seems, I mean, the implication, it doesn't outright state it, but the implication in this film is, as long as like a cell of this thing is alive, it can somehow regenerate, or it can infect someone else, like another life form, and become something else. That is really cool.
To ensure it propagate its own survival. Yeah. I was a bit on the fence about the introduction of the black glue and reverse engineering, but I liked the fact that they were able to reverse engineer from the original alien back through an alien's life cycle to the face hugger. I like the fact that they could reverse engineer to that. The face huggers, I mean, it did kind of make me chuckle, the scene where all the face huggers are just sitting in that room and they've got to get through the room really quietly. And the face huggers, do you remember the Tom and Jerry cartoons where Tom would get a substantial head injury, and then he would just sit there with his head in his hands, and his fingers would just tap on the floor.
Yeah, that's
frustration.
We do have to talk about, because one of the other sins of this film is that it tries to pad itself out with synthetic set pieces, which it doesn't need. and this is one of them. It makes absolutely zero sense, the contrivance of that entire sequence. So effectively, they come up with some new bullshit, which doesn't make a lick of sense, by the way, that the face huggers detect other life forms by heat. Now, they're spidery creatures, right? They have multiple limbs and legs. Spidery creatures, certainly on this planet, they primarily detect through vibration, not heat. Yeah. So are you really telling me that this perfect organism, this perfect hunter, can't detect like vibrations? It can't detect like minute like heartbeats or anything like that. That's bullshit.
It
doesn't, that sequence is one where I was like, fuck off. The only reason you've done this and come up with this bullshit is to have the scary sort of, we've got to be quiet horror sequence. And it doesn't work.
No, because those things will fucking have you regardless of how quiet you are. I mean, let's not forget, Kane was breathing in his suit in a very, very thick spacesuit, and the thing still got him.
Right. It doesn't make any sense, and it introduces an element to the facehuggers that limits them massively.
Yes,
that's one of the sequences that needed to be cut out. It doesn't make sense, and it only exists because someone thought it was cool. Because someone thought, we've got to have a horror sequence or an action sequence here. It's not good. But I mean, again, I really don't want to come down on the film too hard because there are moments that are excellent, actually. I think the really, really, really long, slow opening where you've got the characters getting to the space station and exploring what happened there and grappling with the problems of being on the space station. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
Really, really good, right?
And the station
way it introduces the ambiguities of the his name's Andy, isn't it? The Andy, yeah. He's great. I mean, he's so interesting. He's got this wonderful background about how he was basically wreckage, and he was found and reprogrammed to serve this guy's daughter, who is basically the protagonist. Yeah. And then you get this absolutely brilliant bit of identity politics introduced regarding the cyborgs, the androids, whereby they can be upgraded. Their protocols can be upgraded. Their software can be upgraded, and it can change their personalities. It can change their identities, which makes loads of sense.
Absolutely.
That makes loads of sense. And it not only is it fun because it gives the actor basically a chance to play a dual role here. He's really ambiguous, isn't he? Like even when he's like other Andy, he's really ambiguous as to what he's doing, what he wants, what he's going to do. Because he basically, when he gets his upgrade, he basically becomes David, right?
Yes.
Which was cool. Or Ash. He basically becomes David or Ash.
Yeah.
One of them, the bad androids, effectively, but also that's when he's most useful. Ironically,
weirdly,
that's when he's most useful because he knows more at that point. He's able to sort of calculate more at that point. And the actor's obviously having a ball. The actor, I've got to give kudos to the actor because he is one of the best actors in this film.
Yeah.
By a significant margin. And he's just having a ball with it. He's just having a ball with it. Really liked.
We felt a couple of the characters, I guess by their definition, were quite one-dimensional. So the character who doesn't like the android because his father died in a mine, there was nothing else to his character apart from
sacrificial. He was going to die always.
Absolutely,
he's just sacrificial. You just know, right? You just know. There is really like the depth of the characters that you get in the first three Alien films.
But it's a shame that the more isn't done with his character because that element of his arc feeds into something else I wanted to talk about, and it feeds back into the world building thing. Weyland-Yutani itself. Now, in the first film, they're a nebulous entity.
Yep.
By the second film, you get the facial representative in Carter Burke. Is it Carter Burke?
It is. Yeah, it's Burke. Yeah.
And he's like the face of the corporation, and what you're seeing is the financial side. When he talks about they mass manufacture the atmosphere processing stations, which are fucking huge and things like that.
Yeah.
But what you don't see is what drives the corporate side? What drives the capitalist side?
Exactly.
And what's
Are they
driving it?
trying to do?
Yeah.
Right.
And Alien Romulus is obviously taking place just prior. I mean, obviously they're using atmosphere processors, but it's clearly at a stage before atmosphere processing has become a lucrative thing. So everyone's down in the mines, blah, 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 and everyone's living like shit on these planets and things like that. And it gives you a really good insight into how Weyland-Yutani made its fucking money back in the day. And that part fascinated me because everything on this planet reminded me of Fury 161. Everything is rusted, run down, dilapidated.
Everyone is sick.
Everything is broken.
Yeah.
And I kind of really wanted to see more of that.
More of the world, right? Yeah, absolutely. The glimpses you get into how humanity is living under this,
which is it's not great.
This pan-galactic oligarchy, this basically Thatcherism / Reaganism spread across the stars. It's the worst, right? It's a level of Dantean hell. So people are, excuse me. People are malnourished, they are sick, they are dying. You get that, right? Life is really, really cheap on these colonies. And the way they manipulate people, the way the company manipulates people, which you get a direct expression of, which is
when they extend their contract by 6 years.
Right. Fulfill your quota, fulfill your production. The criticism that this film lays is totally Marxist, right? This is a Marxist film. This is like one of the most starkly Marxist films I've seen for a while, I'll be honest, which is great. I don't know, it's really good. So basically, you're a resource, you sign a contract with the company. In fact, with regards to the protagonist, it seems like her parents probably signed the contract for their entire family. If you're a child, you are basically sold into slavery to a company.
Yeah, that's exactly the vibe I got. Yeah, and it's a shame that they didn't spend too much time within the setting of the planet before they all take off in their spaceship to the station. Because by that stage they don't know it's a station, do they? They just think it's an orbital derelict.
They think it's spaceship. They think it's a derelict ship, because that's, again, it's the despair created by this sort of like pan-galactic capitalism that's driving the narrative. The only reason they end up on this station is because it's the only way. They realize basically that they're being fucked over. That even within the bounds of the contracts that the company imposes on them, company just says, "Oh, we've arbitrarily altered the contract. We've extended the contract by this amount of years. So sorry, sucks, done it."
Sorry, your father died. That's put an extra 6 years on your work.
And the implication is that this is just the way it works, right? There actually is no way off this planet. You work here, you die
there. Yeah,
that's what it's about. Right?
And I could have quite happily had at least another half an hour in that setting.
More of that, please. Absolutely. Because really, as we spoke about when we did Alien and when we did Aliens and Alien 3 to a certain degree, the real horror of these films isn't even necessarily the alien, the xenomorph, the body horror, all of that stuff. The real horror is where humanity is and what humanity is in this situation. And what humanity is chaff. Right? You are nothing. You are absolutely nothing. You exist to serve the company. To the point whereby there are now, like, obviously synthetic humans whose entire purpose, they are programmed to serve the interests of the company and nothing else. It is beyond religion to them. It's an imperative that goes beyond like evolutionary biology. It's ingrained in them. That's what they do.
Yeah, and Aliens sort of heavily hinted at that's the sort of climate that people are living in. Because obviously, like Parker and I can't remember the other guy's name. But they're always talking about, are they going to get their bonus for this? Are they going to get blah, blah, blah. So you get a sense of that. This film is the first film that's actively shown what it's like on the other side of the corporate machine.
Yeah.
How have you got the resources to make these, to mass produce atmosphere processing stations? How have you got the resources or the infrastructure to do X, Y, Z, colonize fucking God knows whatever? It's because of situations like this.
It's effectively slavery, isn't it?
Yeah.
They have a cast of people who are desperate and who they feed these promises to, who are just laborers. They're just there to slave away. They do their so many hours a day. They get sick, they starve, they do their duty and then they die.
Now that reveal and that sort of setup was 10 minutes into the film, and by that stage I'm already sitting forward in my seat in the cinema with my legs crossed and I'm actively watching the screen. I think I saw me and Jen saw Covenant in the cinema. I don't recall at any point during that film sitting forward in my seat and actively watching the screen to that degree.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
And obviously, with regards to the first three, the first film I saw in the cinema was Resurrection.
Yeah, of course, because we wouldn't have been old enough, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it must have been. It must have been because, I remember my mum coming home from the cinema when I was a kid and telling me about Alien 3.
Yeah.
When I was quite young. So.
Yeah, and because these films are so sort of ingrained into sort of my interests and something like that, it seems weird to think that I was sort of 11 or 12 when 12 or 13 when Alien 3 came out. It seems absolutely mental to me.
It does. I mean, it's because they're ambient, right? They've been there since we don't know a world where the alien didn't exist. Basically, that's the truth of the matter.
Yeah. And this film could have actually gone some way into making you feel like that, this is the first time you've ever seen it, if it didn't continuously let itself down by going, you're watching an alien film.
Yeah, that's you can feel the identity of this film. You can feel what it's trying to be. Mm-hmm. And I think there was sincerity there.
Oh, absolutely there was.
There was a real project here beyond just, we've got space for an alien film, let's make another alien film. I think they were really trying here. But I also think there was a lot of corporate pressure here.
They're always, fucking, come on. It's 20th Century Fox. 20th Century Fox gets bought out by Disney. Fucking, yeah, I mean, what chance have you got?
What chance have you got, right? And as a result of that, there are these, and I mean, they escalate as the film goes on, don't they? Like, the last act is nothing but callbacks, by and large, to the previous franchise. And that's where
some of them work within the context of what they're portraying or what they're communicating.
Right.
But I'd say it's a 60-40 split in the favour of they don't.
They don't,
work.
Yeah. And also, it's just, culturally, I could do without it, because at the moment, if you look at what cinema is like, if you look at mainstream cinema, what's on at mainstream cinema at the moment, it's almost exclusively this bullshit nostalgia porn. It's this, do you remember the 1980s? Oh, look, here's this, here's that. Do you remember Ghostbusters? Do you remember Beetlejuice? Do you remember Transformers? Yes. Okay. Yeah. We remember. All right.
The trouble is, there's always going to be a market for it.
That's the problem, right? That's the problem.
But see, that doesn't have to be the problem if what you're producing is a tenth of anywhere near as considered as this film was trying to be.
It was just trying, yeah, and that's part of the problem. I can really feel the sincerity here, and there's so much to love. There's so much that's really, like, on a craft level. It's really good in this film.
I mean, it was directed by the guy who did the remake or the reboot of Evil Dead, wasn't it?
Right. And I liked that, actually. That's one of the few remakes I actually really rather enjoyed. It is, on a directorial level, it's actually really good. There's a couple of sequences where again, I think it's like, just get on with it, cut it out. And they are these silly action set pieces that just don't need to be in it. They just serve to prolong the film beyond what it needed to be. There's the face hug sequence that we spoke about earlier. Yeah. There's the sequence where she's blasted all of the aliens away, and their acid blood is in the anti-gravity. I was like, this is just contrived, you know.
Yeah.
This is just contrived. Let's get on with it. You
There
don't
was
need that.
because it's the film that's supposed to be sitting very, very comfortably between the first and second installments. There are certain things within the film which you think to yourself, visually, I instantly recognise that it doesn't necessarily have to be there. So, for example, the early model pulse rifle from the second film, but
Right.
it's cast in white, looks plastic.
Yeah, it's like
It's like a generation or two before that. It's
right.
yeah. I instantly recognised it as a evolutionary step of what it's going to be. You didn't need to necessarily have that in there. You could have any fucking weapon. You didn't have to be.
Setting. Look at the setting. This is not that was a military grade weapon, right?
Yeah.
This is not a military installation. It's a scientific installation. So something that made more sense in that setting would have been more favorite. That wasn't just a game. Oh, you remember this from Aliens, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Well, it was cast in white, so maybe it's a scientific gun. Who knows?
Okay, fine, whatever. You know, one of the big things I didn't like was the fake Ian Holm android. I like the character. The character is fine. I have no problem with there being an android, you know, who is the antithesis of Andy, you know, or he's sort of like a dark mentor figure to Andy. But making it into Ian Holm, I wasn't at home with that. I mean, the guy, I find it disrespectful. You know, the guy cannot consent to that.
No, his estate did though, didn't they?
Yeah, again, I don't like it. I really, really dislike it. I don't think that's respectful. The guy can't just do another android.
I would have actually been more. I would have been more on board with it if they could have just got the facial, the mouth looking like it wasn't, because it seems that again animatronic.
Yeah, yeah.
But what I was trying to work out was, have you superimposed a mouth onto the animatronic in like sort of After Effects or something like that, digital effects? Because there's something about the face when it's talking that's not working as a face.
Quite right. Yeah, it's a little uncanny valley, isn't it?
Yes.
They almost get away with, because it is an android and because it's damaged. You almost get away with it, right?
Yeah, but for the majority of the time that's on screen, it doesn't work. It's only within the last, I think, 2 minutes that you actually see that android talking. Suddenly, it works. Suddenly, the movement was right, and I was like, "How comes it's right in this sense, but not?"
Yeah.
For the rest of it, so I couldn't work out whether or not that was an effects issue that they couldn't quite rectify.
The fact of it made me uncomfortable. I thought it was disrespectful. Myself, I found it disrespectful. And there's a creepy, almost necromantic quality to it, you know? Ian Holm can't consent to this, obviously. Yeah. And again, it's a callback too many, you know?
Yeah.
Why does it have to be the Ash android? Why would there be multiple versions of that android knocking about, you know? It's
I mean, the same reason there was multiple versions clearly of David and
but it just
Walter.
It kind of it rubbed me up the wrong way. That did. It rubbed me up the wrong way. Like the fact of the character, obviously don't mind that. It should have just been another android character, you know. Yeah. Or I mean, you know, they could have done a David. They could have had another David. Although that would have made it so that everybody knew that he was going to be an arsehole, right?
Yeah. I mean, the thing that made me laugh about that was when they bring the android back online and sort of blah blah blah, and bearing in mind they've all been in the room about 10 minutes.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
And it's only when the android points it out and they all turn around that they've been in the presence of an alien corpse hanging from the ceiling that entire time. And I think to myself, all right, now there's a difference between me watching Alien for the first 150 times and not seeing the alien in the chains, right?
Right.
So I'm pretty sure that if I walked in that room, I'd go, "What's that fucking great big corpse doing there, hanging at?" That's something I kind of feel like I would have noticed as soon as I got in the room.
That's something that is a problem in the film sometimes. Like the camera, the film assumes that the characters can't see in the same way that the viewer can't. You know, it's a little odd in that regard. And there are a few moments like that where it takes you out, where you're like, oh, I can't see, so they can't see, even though they are
Yeah, it's
technically in a three-dimensional
technically in a
space.
360-degree field of vision. Yeah, I mean,
Still,
and yet, having said that, one of the things that I did like about that, when you see what's left of the alien reveal, is it's still got the harpoon in it.
right, which is cool.
Now, you might consider that as an unnecessary callback. Weirdly enough, if you want to talk about attention to detail, in Aliens, when they start cutting open the door to her escape craft,
Yeah.
the harpoon is sitting on the other side of the door,
Right,
on
right.
the floor. And
Okay,
it's
cute. Yeah.
so I can't with the harpoon sticking up. I kind of regarded that as the same sort of like attention to detail as what James Cameron would have done.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, that is something this film does very well. The environmental detail is fantastic. I mean, it
it's
really is. World building is really, really clever in this
well,
film
the
and beautifully done.
sound design as well, because
Yeah,
I thought there was something wrong with the cinema when we went to see it. The amount of stuff that it took me a little while to suss it, but the amount of stuff that takes place in space, and
right.
things are knocking about and banging around, blah blah, and there's no sound.
But it's vacuum. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Very clever.
and then I realized what they're doing. I was like, oh no, this is perfect. And then it occurred to me that the director of this film is very much a fan of Alien Isolation, and
Oh, wow.
there's a lot of inspiration from Alien Isolation in this game.
There in this film, yeah, there is.
In the film, sorry, yeah.
There absolutely is. I mean, this film seems to treat Alien Isolation as though it is an absolute part of the canon, as though it's a previous Alien film that they're drawing on, right?
Yeah,
Which is cool. I mean, I like that. I really like that.
a lot. Well, I mean, a lot of people do regard Alien Isolation as canon, don't they?
I mean,
Because
Alien Isolation as the most sincere sequel.
yeah, again, attention to detail in terms of the environmental design and everything like that. When I played it, I was like, oh, this is exactly what I wanted.
Yeah, it's start the game. I mean, and also, I mean, this is the other thing. It's a good game. That's the thing that always gets me, But for me personally, I don't really care as much about the lore or about fidelity or anything like that, as long as it's good, as long as it's telling a story that's worthwhile and that means something. It's why I like Alien 3 so much. It's why, for me personally, I think Alien 3 is up there. I think Alien 3 is one of the best.
Absolutely is.
Because it's doing something. It's got its own project. If you
I think a lot of the people that when they say us to that film are basically jumping on the bandwagon without really having a clue of what they're actually fucking talking about.
Well, yeah, I mean, not to get too snobby about it, but I do think that it's a byproduct of the death of interpretation that we're experiencing. This problem
that was 30 plus years ago. So
I know, right? People really have an issue. I mean, particularly these days with the advent of internet criticism and whatnot, which is garbage by and large. With interpreting material, with understanding how fiction works. Not to sound too much of a snob, but it's true. With the way criticism on the internet has developed, where it's largely nitpicking. They're looking at things that are just byproducts of making cinema, and sort of nitpicking that rather than looking at the wider project, the themes, the ideas, the technicals. Is it a good product? Is it like on a purely technical level? Is it a good product? I mean, like on a technical level, this film is fantastic. It really is. I mean, like the production is very, very good. It is very good. And for the most part, I think even like the themes are very good. Then it is not doing anything other than the other Alien films does. It is not doing an Alien 3 where it's elevating the material and it's taking it to other new, strange places. In fact, that is a criticism of the film, I will say. I don't think it's taking it anywhere it hasn't gone before. It really isn't. It's just trying to make a passable Alien film.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, I mean, it could have gone two ways. You either play it safe to a certain degree, so people are familiar enough with it to go, yeah, that's hitting the tropes more than, or it's hitting the spot more than the previous installments have. Or if you go too far the other way with something new, people will reject it entirely
Yeah.
because they're not familiar with any of the concepts or any of the things that you're trying to bring to it. So for me, it kind of makes sense that they might have leaned a little bit too far into
Well,
familiarity in this sense.
I mean, given how like off-piste Prometheus and Covenant go, and how
Exactly.
utterly they fail, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a shame because I think there's potential within the material for it to go really wide off-piste. I mean, the potential for the body horror really, it still hasn't been explored enough. There's a little bit of it in this film, which is actually not bad. There's some fairly decent body horror ideas in this film, which are okay, which are actually kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, it does do this thing where there is a superfluous like fourth act where after
Yeah.
they've escaped the station, and I'm like, I remember like the act where they actually escape the station is really well done.
Yeah.
It's really like climactic, and there's lots of different factors at play. There's the brilliant photography of the using the actual rings of Saturn, the asteroids.
Yeah.
It's utterly brilliant. It's utterly brilliant as a hazard. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's wonderful. I loved that, and it was very well shot too. It was very well put together. But then it does have this superfluous third act, which takes it on too long and maybe introduces a beat too much.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
also does that thing where I actually don't mind the notion of another creature being introduced, because insofar as I can see, the black fluid could
It's
is like
capable of
it's
anything.
right. It's the Rosetta Stone, right? It's the genetic Rosetta Stone. You can make anything from it.
Yeah.
You can make anything from it. It could produce any kind of monster, but I don't think they do it particularly well in this film. The birth sequence is great. I loved
Yeah.
that. But
Well,
the
I mean,
actual
the actual
result,
offspring. Well, I mean, there wasn't really a hell of a lot of makeup involved with this one, was there?
it
The guy that
wasn't
got the guy
amazing.
that got to play him really is that fucking awkward and freaky looking,
Right,
mostly.
right. I
Um,
mean, this obsession, I mean, obviously this has been done before as well. They've gone for that sort of like alien human a hybrid thing. And
yeah,
it's been done before, but also it's a redundant concept. The alien that we know is already a hybrid.
yeah.
That's its nature, right?
By
That's its
definition, yeah.
nature, a
Okay,
definition.
this section here, I think you'll quite happily be able to cut out because it's just going to be silent. So I'm going to go blow my nose and get another drink. I can't breathe.
Okay. No
Bear with me.
worries, no problem. Yeah, not a problem.
Right. I'm alive. Right.
Good.
Okay. Now here's something I want to talk about. What you bring to the franchise without necessarily taking anything away. And that's always a bit of a fine balance. So, Alien obviously introduces the fucking alien. Okay, Aliens introduces the hive mentality and the life cycle has a queen, and that's where you get the eggs. Alien 3 shows that, well, actually, depending on which version of Alien 3 you watch, shows that if you want a queen, you're more likely to have a specific phase cycle, like a queen making phase cycle, which can maybe propagate on more than one occasion. Alien 3 also introduces cross-species development, so depending on what is impregnated, what comes out. Alien 4 shows the what they call the newborn, the hybrid, and things like that. And this film here adds the cocoon, the protective cocoon made out of the resin that they used to make their layers and things like that.
Yeah,
but it also what it gives, it also takes away as well, and this is a shame because it adds extra development to an alien's life cycle, because in Aliens it sheds its skin and it looks like a fucking used condom when he picks it up.
Right.
But how does it go from shedding its little skin like that to being 7 foot tall and and they could have got, and I'm thankful that they actually show that there is an intermediate stage where an alien will re-cocoon itself and then grow and so blah blah blah, and it could have been absolutely spot on perfect, and I nearly went, that's amazing, if it hadn't have been a massive fucking space vagina, and I thought to myself, you're really taking the sexual symbolization maybe a step beyond what Giga probably intended at this point.
I mean, I'm very ambiguous about showing bits of the alien's life cycle. I really am, because part of what makes the horror of the original Alien so interesting is you fill in the gaps. You have to fill in the gaps. You get implications of what's happening. Yeah. But you don't really know much, apart from like the facehugger chest burster stuff. You don't really see a great deal. It's all implication and inference. It was really one of the grand mistakes and errors of Aliens, for my money, that it formalizes the life cycle. And I think it was well done in this film. I liked the notion, but again, I am ambiguous about just showing you the life cycle of the alien, so it goes from this to this to this to this. I think it does rob the creature of some of its alienness and some of its essential mystery. However,
I see that, but I see that. But at the same time, I think to yourself, yeah, go on.
Sorry, go on. No, go on.
Well, I see what you're saying with regards to that whole thing of where it takes away the mystery, but at the same time, I kind of feel that once you've gone down that road, you can't really then take a step back from it and not explore it further.
It was kind of Aliens that did that, that started that. So unfortunately, I will say this film it's one of the only films in the entire franchise that does expand that a little bit and allow you a little bit more. So like we were talking about earlier on, you get these expostulations on how it can survive in a vacuum. It creates this cocoon around itself. It doesn't need to eat or breathe or anything. It's like a cell of it is alive. A cell of this thing is like a cancer. It's alive in and of itself, and it can swell. It can become something else. It can propagate. That's cool. I like that, because that again introduces all of these potentials for how the alien could become something else, or could go through other cycles of existence, or operate,
or survive in literally any hostile environment.
Exactly. That's interesting. I really like that. And I even you get the reintroduction. What I really liked, and I'm surprised I liked this, in the soundtrack, the little callbacks to Prometheus, the little bits of the Prometheus theme that come through when you get references to Mr. Wayland and to the Prometheus itself and to the black goo and whatnot. There are little audio clues which I actually kind of liked, I'll be honest.
But they also had little bits from like James Horner's score from Aliens as well. Yeah. I picked up on that, and I thought to myself, you're really bringing in a lot here.
Yes, yeah. I mean, again, the soundtrack is very. It's a reflection of the rest of the film
Yeah,
in that it does very interesting things, but it is a little too referential at times.
yeah.
It's a little too referential, and it
Then again,
serves to dilute the identity of this film a little bit.
yeah, but at the same time, if the film was going to be that self-referential anyway,
Yeah, right.
if the
As well.
score hadn't have followed suit, then that might have been a
Yes,
little bit jarring, and
exactly.
people you possibly would have noticed that more, and that might have been more of a
I
complaint
mean,
if it
I
hadn't have
sat
done.
up. I sat up at the reintroduction of the black goo because one of my big complaints about Prometheus and Covenant is it doesn't go far enough with it. If
No,
you're going to do it, go for it. Go Cronenberg, go nuts with it. This
yeah,
stuff, there is such potential for the most amazing body horror. Forget the alien in many respects. There's this stuff could create monsters the like of which you can't even imagine, that Giga probably couldn't even imagine.
yeah,
They could go nuts with it, and they kind of don't in
no,
this, and that's a real shame. I love the idea, actually. I love the idea of like a pregnant woman being exposed to it and it altering the fetus and altering her at the same time. Love
yeah.
all that shit. I think that's great, but it doesn't really give itself space or time to do it properly.
No, that whole section felt a little bit rushed
Tacked on.
because like everybody's on the way back and sort of blah blah. And me and Jen sat there and went, "Everybody's on the way back. You know they're on the way back." There was no reason for you to inject yourself with this shit
No.
because they are literally 30 seconds away. What
Yeah.
I kind of felt that whatever happens now, you've entirely brought this on yourself. I mean,
I even love the idea of the black goo affecting a fetus and creating this like semi-human but not creature.
yeah.
I love that idea. It just doesn't. I don't think it's done particularly well here.
Well,
It
there's not enough time to
doesn't.
explore it.
No, there isn't. You're right. The ambiguities of it, like that's the thing, right? It's
Yeah.
just a monster, isn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't in much the same way that the newborn was a monster as well. But the what they were trying to convey with the newborn is its inherent emotions
Right,
that
right.
essentially that this creature doesn't really have. Um, the emotions and the attachment that it feels towards Ripley, and you can see it in its eyes. And a lot of people took umbrage with the newborn's design, but one of the things that I absolutely loved about it and the animatronic of it was the emotion that they got out of those eyes.
Is it how expressive it was, right?
Yeah, yeah.
This thing, it
This
only
thing
has
that,
one emotion, which is hostility.
yeah.
It's just a monster, isn't
And
it?
I would have liked to have seen something, maybe a little more diverse or a little bit more,
Yes, absolutely.
but not enough time. Not enough time to do it.
I would
So
have
if
even liked to see something ambiguous about like the outcome. So maybe the baby is born and maybe you don't see it, right?
yeah,
Maybe you don't see it, but the mother conceals it and takes it back to the planet with her or something.
yeah,
Something like that would have been interesting. But
yeah.
it just becomes another threat, another monster, an excuse for other set pieces, unfortunately.
The one thing I will say in its favour though is I like the fact that they spend all this time to get her into cryogenic stasis there, and the stasis does nothing to slow this thing down.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. It is kind of
It
interesting.
gets around that entire thing, and the next time she's up and she's basically been fucking cut in half or whatever.
Mhm.
I like the fact that the stasis thing did nothing to slow down its development, and I thought, do you know what? Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough, right? Fair enough. I mean,
But if you're going to do it, leave that till the end of the second act as opposed to 15 minutes before the end,
yes,
because you've got no time to do anything with it.
do something with it, right? Do something with it. I would have liked to have seen more of that on the actual station. To be honest,
well,
if they were mucking about with the black goo, then surely they would do it. It's the company, it's Weyland-Yutani. Surely they were doing something with it.
Of course
They
were.
would not have they would not have exposed human beings to this, right?
Exactly. Well, yeah. But here, let's talk about the station. I mean, the film is called Alien Romulus, but the Romulus is only one half of that
It's only
station.
one half. The other half is Remus. Obviously, it's the founders of Romulus and Remus. I don't really get that. I mean, like the symbolism of that. I get the symbolism of the Prometheus, That's obvious, that's really obvious. I mean, film can't help but hammer you over the head with the bloody symbolism of that, obviously. But Romulus and Remus, founders of Rome.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get like what.
Maybe it would have made more sense if the whole station was just called one thing.
Yes,
like in Isolation, it's the Sevastopol station, isn't it? It's the whole thing.
I do think there may have been something in the original script about the nature of the station, because there's a shot where you see that it's called Romulus and the other half is called Remus, and it looks like the station separates. Like, it mechanically looks like part of the station can come away from the other.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what they were going to do originally. Maybe that's what it was going to be, But it just doesn't really factor in, does it?
No.
The title is odd, actually, to this film. The title is a little weird because it doesn't really factor into the substance of the film.
No, not at all. Now, the other thing is apparently that there's a small Easter egg in this film, which is like somewhere on the hull of Romulus is Ripley's escape vehicle.
Oh, right, okay, fair enough. I suppose.
I guess in much the same way that they featured the Millennium Falcon in Star Trek: First Contact and sort of thing like that.
Right.
But I thought to myself, what would have been a really interesting development in the film is if Ripley's escape craft had been picked up by this station or whatever, it's docked at the station, and then for whatever reason becomes undocked from the station and is just left drifting as the station is destroyed. And therefore, everyone's under the assumption that she just drifted through the outer core worlds for like sort of 57 years. But actually, no, at some stage, the craft was recovered, but no one had time to access it. That could have been a nice little twist.
They could have done something with that. Yeah, they could have done something with that. But no, I mean, again, I want this film to be more itself.
Yeah.
Really want this film to be more of its own thing, rather than to be just the endless Alien and Aliens and Alien 3 and Prometheus and Covenant references. And it is, you can almost feel it, can't you? Yeah. You can feel it underneath everything else. You can almost feel the identity and the sincere film really, really trying to get out. But it's not, it's buried. It's kind of buried underneath all this other stuff, which is slightly redundant and at worst irritating. I mean, when I went to see it at the cinema, I actually got actively annoyed with the references. I did. I got actively annoyed with the references. The way it keeps doing shots that are from the other Alien films. It does the Bishop shot early on, where he's going through the tunnel. It does that.
There's that one. I mean, again, there's the what I won't reference it anymore than other than saying the line of dialogue where me and Jen instantly rejected the note. We pretended that it wasn't part of the film. It was almost borderline offensive to even consider using it.
It just doesn't work, because the character doesn't talk like that.
No,
this character
it has no place. It has no context. It has no reason to be.
The only reason it exists is to say to the audience, you remember this? That's all it is. That is literally all it is. And it's
narratively speaking, you can't turn around to the audience and say, do you remember this from the other film that won't take place for another 30 years?
Also, by the way, guys, huge mistake referencing the superior film.
Yeah,
huge mistake. Because what are you going to think? If you are reminded of the superior film, you're going to automatically think, I wish I was watching that. Right?
Yeah.
Huge mistake, guys. Just have the confidence. The craft is here. The craft and the nous and the knowledge of filmmaking and narrative is here. So just let them get on with it. Let them make the film they want to make.
I think
mindless callbacks and the jangling keys and the nostalgia porn and the constant, do you remember the 1980s? Do you remember the 1990s? Yes. Yes, I
think
do.
this franchise is probably one of the worst sufferers for studio interference.
So I think
If
so.
if 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 anyone could ask me, can you name a franchise that suffered under studios, this would always be the one that instantly pops to my mind. And I don't think really, especially with now that Disney being the fucking demonic overlords that they are, as if 20th Century Fox weren't fucking bad enough, but
Right.
I don't think that is necessarily a situation that's ever going to improve, especially for this franchise.
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, it's really sad. The whole thing about the alien, the core of its horror, certainly in the original film, is that it is by definition unfamiliar and
Yeah,
unpredictable.
and by
But the
now it's
minute
very, very familiar.
very familiar, very predictable, so therefore robbed of its essence, right?
Yeah,
Robbed of its essence. And that is a real shame. This film goes some way to redressing that by introducing new elements, right?
yeah,
By introducing new potentials. And it doesn't quite go far enough. There's an odd timidity at times and almost like conservatism where you can feel them kind of wanting to go to other places with it, but
yeah,
they just pull back. They
yeah.
just pull back.
Now, I mean, there could be a number of reasons. I will probably cite studio interference and fucking digging their eek in when it ain't wanted as probably the primary reason for that.
Yeah, yeah.
However, there might be something else to take into consideration here. With regards to this project, I was confused for the longest time, right? Because is it going to be a film? Is it going to be a TV show? Is it going to be oh no, it's definitely going to be a TV show. Oh, it's definitely going to be a film. And then it transpires that there are two projects almost running concurrently.
Yes.
And it was never, it took fucking ages to suss out that was actually the case.
They were very unclear about it, weren't they?
Yeah.
Like, they were very unclear about it. Like, we didn't know. Because for the longest time, I thought this was going to be a TV series because that's what we kept hearing.
Yeah.
And that's probably the best way to do this material now. Let's be honest. That is probably
it's still
going to be
coming.
the best way. Yeah, it is. It is. And okay, great. Let's see how it turns out, right? But I think that's where you could get the space to breathe. Where this franchise could get the space to breathe, to do the things that it could essentially do. You know, where it could expand on its commentary, on its corporate satire, where its dystopia could be explored a little bit more. Yeah. And where the body horror, the bio horror potential of not just the alien, but of what the alien represents could be explored massively, you know? And also the identity stuff and the politics with regards to the androids, the synthetic humans that are owned, created, and programmed by companies, you know?
Yeah.
There's so much there. There's so much in that material to explore and to consider. You know, it's proper science fiction, this stuff.
Yeah.
But the films generally don't have space to do it, or they just don't have the smarts. They just don't have the capability. You know, we saw that.
Or they don't have the backing or confidence of the people who are stumping up the money.
Exactly that.
And I think if you're stumping up the money, then you've obviously done that for a reason. So why don't you take a chance on what that reason? Why give them the opportunity to do what they're going to do?
This is it. This is what the people stumping up the money never seem to understand. The original Alien was a massive experiment, huge experiment. Ridley Scott was he wasn't unknown, but he hadn't really done like a big feature film before. Certainly not like a Hollywood feature film, not like this.
Yeah.
And the lassitude that they had, like bringing on Giger, this fairly obscure, weird, surrealist artist from Zurich. What the fuck, right?
Yeah.
In today's corporate Hollywood climate, wouldn't happen.
Well, no, but I mean, at the same time, I mean, in order to have these budgets set, in order for these films to get greenlit, these people who are putting the money up must have been fucking sat down and given a pitch for what the project is going to be. So you've got a good idea of what it's going to be. So you put them, and yet you're still not giving them the creative space they need to actually do what they told you they were going to do.
having watched the making of the Alien film, the original
Yeah.
one, I think Ridley, even despite being really like untested and untrained at that point, he was quite bulky, wasn't he? You
Yeah,
get
but
the impression that he kept the corp of the suits in their place, right?
yeah. So
You
what
don't
changed?
interfere,
Because
basically.
by the time you get to Alien 3, they fucking run roughshod over David Fincher.
They did, yeah. They just
And
had power, didn't they? They just had more
yeah,
power than ultimately.
and it's weird. All right, so Fox might they're not called 20th Century Fox anymore. They're called 20th Century Pictures.
Oh, are they? Right, okay.
Yes, it was a different logo. That's just one thing we noticed. We went, that's fucking interesting. So they
Yeah.
might not have as much creative control over the IP anymore. But the people who do, I wouldn't necessarily say were the best.
No,
I wouldn't trust them really with a goldfish.
no. I mean, brass tacks, is this film gonna like spark like a renewed interest in this
Well,
franchise?
I would hope so, because from what I understood, its box office returns have not been in any way shabby whatsoever.
No, it's done all right, hasn't it? It's done
I
okay.
reckon it will do okay on, because it's coming out on digital streaming soon, which means the physical copies won't be
Oh,
far
it's out.
behind.
It's out. You know, I watched it yesterday. I rewatched it yesterday. It's on
What?
Amazon.
Okay, which means the physical copies won't be far behind, and it will be a film that I will happily turn around and say I would be happy to add to my collection that didn't
Yeah.
have the same level of trepidation as Prometheus or Covenant did.
No, I wouldn't hesitate to watch if I was doing like an Alien run through.
Yeah,
I actually wouldn't hesitate to watch this one again. It does irritate me in a lot of ways,
yeah.
and there are massive problems with it. But it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't. It certainly doesn't infuriate me in the same way that Prometheus does, and it
Yeah.
doesn't bore the arse off me in the same way Covenant does. You know?
Ah, well, yeah, there is that. Yeah,
You
there
know?
is that.
Well, for one thing, I can remember this film.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
already almost forgotten
Almost
Covenant.
forgotten Covenant entirely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
again.
here's as I said, when the time comes, I will happily add this to our ever growing library, and yeah, I hope that it does spark either continued interest in the franchise. 'Cause I know that a lot of people, Sammy Sadek, for example, was very interested in seeing this film, but had the same level of reservation, thinking, "Please don't be shit." Please, in fact, I kept saying it on social media. Please don't be shit. Please don't be
Yeah.
shit.
Please don't be shit, right?
Yeah. And you shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to ask that of
No.
an entry into any IP that you're a fan of or that you take an active interest in. No one should have to ask or pray to, nebulous entities that I don't believe in. Please don't be shit. That's
Please
ridiculous.
don't be terrible. It is. It really is. And for a franchise that, I mean, it does stand as a marker of how good the original films were. That the level of goodwill and hope that's still out there, despite how many like 30 years of crap,
Yeah.
by and large.
Yeah.
That's some going. You know what it is? People can sense the potential. They know that there's something here that to be told. You know, it's very like Silent Hill in video games. You know, there's people have been waiting for like 10 years for a good Silent Hill product, and all they've gotten is shit up until the recent remake of Silent Hill 2. The reason being, people can feel the potential in the material. There are still stories to be told here. There's a lot that, unlike a lot of like old franchises that are resurrected, where there isn't a story to tell, where it's all been done. Halloween is a really good example.
Oh, fuck
Doesn't
that.
need anything else, you know. I would argue that never needed anything past the first film. That's just me. But here, there's loads to tell. There's so much potential in this universe, in this mythology, to go absolutely bonkers crazy. I mean, the alien itself, beyond what it represents for the rest of this universe. If that life form is out there,
Yeah. What else is?
what the hell else is out there?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I mean, what else have the engineers done? You know?
True. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
What happens? Are there worlds out there where the black goo or the alien creature has infected other alien civilizations.
Yeah.
And
And
what has come of
what's the
that?
byproduct of that? Yeah.
Exactly. Are there entire ecosystems that have been like overtaken by the alien, and where you've got like alien world?
Yeah.
What do they
That's a fascinating. They explored things like that in the I think Dark Horse comics
did
in
in
the
the
90s.
comics? Yeah, they did. Yeah,
There's some very interesting alien designs in there.
yeah, yeah. Again, I mean, like, and you know, kudos to them. They really went for it. They
Yeah.
really went for it, considering that it's like an expanded universe. It's unofficial. It's a comic book franchise. They really they obviously had a lot of creative freedom with that one,
Yeah.
which, you know, they wouldn't have now. They'd be told exactly
What
what
they
their
could. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
parameters are, and, you know, what's acceptable, and so on and so forth. Which is
There'll
a
be a
shame.
studio Bible or something.
That's the problem with this film. That's one of the major problems with this film. There is obviously a studio Bible. There is obviously beats they've got to hit. There are points that have to be referenced,
Yeah.
and there are parameters that will not be crossed. Right?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, but when I try to look past all the glaringly obvious faults for what the film does well, and for me, mostly the film does well more than it fucks up. So, for example, when I was talking about the feeling of living in the world,
Yeah.
the way the computer monitors have that sort of 1970s look, and they're all glitchy, and,
Yeah.
and everything's dirty and dusty and something like that.
Yeah.
Even along to the design of the space station, when you had like close-up shots of the space station. Now, knowing that they did a lot with practical effects, I found it really difficult to work out, did they actually maybe build part of this, or is it all CG rendered? Because if it is all CG rendered, it's that good that I wouldn't have necessarily been able to tell the difference between that and maybe upscale miniature work.
I'm of the opinion that a significant amount of it is practical. Significant. I think
I honestly hope that's the case, because obviously they don't do miniatures and shit like that anymore. I mean, if we take Star Trek for example, I think the last Star Trek miniature that was made for filming was the Enterprise for the 1996 film Star Trek First Contact. Every Enterprise after that, or every ship past that, was all CG rendered.
Yeah, that was a long time ago as well, 1996. Bloody hell.
So
often referred to now as like the late 20th century, I believe.
All right. Yeah, fuck yourself.
Yeah, I know, right?
So if they did build any of that, even just like a small section where the camera needs to come up really close to it, you know, when they're trying to fly the ship around from one port to another, even if a small part of that was practically built, then I think to myself, that's amazing. That's proper filmmaking.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, and that is one of the best things about this film. It isn't emphasizing the craft, like the practical craft of filmmaking.
Yeah.
And you've got to really give it kudos for that, because it's trying so hard, you know.
Yeah.
There's such sincerity in what it does well. There's such sincerity in what it does well. And, you know, I have to appreciate that. I really, really do.
My hope is that it's attention to detail like that, which maybe starts seeing sort of a renaissance, if you will, of practical effects within films.
Yeah,
because it got to the stage where it became too expensive and CGI became a lot cheaper.
Yes.
Maybe it'll start. Maybe they'll start finding a balance between what the cost is for practical and CG, because there's clearly still a market for it.
Clearly, and it's an odd thing, isn't it? Because you look at like the films that do both things best. They tend to be the ones that realize what those things are for. So it's like Jackson's The Lord of the Rings films, which have loads of CG in them, but almost everything has a practical base. Almost everything has a material base, and then CG is sort of layered on top of it. You know, it's used to emphasize it and whatnot, and that really works well. That really works beautifully. Hopefully, I mean that's kind of where what I appreciate when they do that well. You know, it's blended together well. But But I mean, there will be another Alien film. There's no doubt.
I highly suspect there will be, but if there is going to be, it needs to have the same attention to detail as this one does.
It does, and it needs to have some of the thornier elements stripped down. So those problems with the contrived set pieces, get rid of them. It doesn't need them, and they're obvious, and they are just very lame. Quite frankly, they're very lame. You know, they serve to stop the film moving, and it takes away the impetus of the film. It needs the jangling keys, nostalgia porn stuff. Enough. We know what the beats of Alien films are. We if we want to go back and watch previous Alien films, they're all readily available. They're all
actually on that note. On that note, there is something else this film does. It's not a massively long film, right? But it felt like it took ages before anything really started happening, right? Which actually, if you're going to talk about callbacks, is one of the best callbacks you could have done, because the first Alien film, fuck all happened for the first hour.
And I like that. I mean, that's just a personal thing, but I love what people these days tend to call a slow burn. I like time that's taken to establish setting and mood and character dynamic. It
gave me all that time to sit there and ponder while they're trying to get their shit together to go up to the space station. It gave me all that time to sit there and ponder what the implications are for the colony that you're living on. You know, the economics of it, the managerial aspect of it. You know, how have you got to that stage?
Right,
it gave me that back. Yeah, and
it's essential, right?
I latched onto that. I latched onto that.
It is essential to the impetus behind like the entire narrative, the plot.
Yeah.
You need to understand the gravity of it, like the real degradation of this situation. And I think it really nails it. I think it does it very, very well. Again, I would have liked to have seen more. And I bet there was more. I bet you any money there was originally.
I'm looking forward to if there's any extras. But when we were sort of talking about, right, we're going to sit down, we're going to get this discussion done, that was... one of the elements I was really looking forward to talking about was we got to see what actually Weyland-Yutani really is.
Yeah, so what it's like for humanity to live under these circumstances, within these systems. And
I've been sitting on that for weeks.
I mean, it's great, isn't it? Because it's so bad that they're willing to risk like death. They're willing to risk like... almost. I mean, they are very likely to fail even before they. You know, there's the notion of the fact that there's aliens on this ship. Yeah. They are very, very likely to get there and find that the ship doesn't work, that the cryopods don't work, that it's too derelict to be made use of. In which instance, they're screwed, aren't they?
Absolutely.
They're totally screwed, because I doubt they'd be able to make it back to the planet, and even if they did, they'd be arrested. So
it was all or nothing.
It's all or nothing. Things are so bad for humanity.
And it's interesting because we were a bit concerned with the cast being quite as young as they were, but that adds an interesting element to it. It's all or nothing. If you're willing to go all or nothing when you're no more than 18, 19 years old, because things are that bad. Yeah.
It really makes sense, actually. That element makes sense. But it's kind of a youthful film in that regard, isn't it? Like they're the generations. Actually, I mean, this may even, I don't know whether this is the case or me just interpreting, but that may be part of the commentary, you know, because these people, the young people, they're so young that it's clear that they could not have signed their contract. You know, their parents must have done it for them. Their parents must have sold the whole family into these contracts.
Because they would have been like sort of no more than 10 years old, surely.
Kids, right?
If that.
Yeah, if that. So that is surely part of the commentary that they had no say. They had no real say. They were coerced into this. They were born into this. Yeah. They had no choice.
In some cases, possibly born on that colony.
Almost certainly, almost certainly, absolutely,
So there'll be a clause in the contract that says any child or offspring you have whilst working this colony is automatically subject to the same rules and regulations upon the age of whatever.
Yeah, property of the company.
It's property of property of Weyland-Yutani. That's insidious as fuck.
Yeah, right. Almost certainly, yeah. It's almost certain. So you get an inbuilt, like, self-perpetuating workforce, yeah.
Yeah. That's horrific.
It is pretty horrific.
That is fucking horrific, isn't it?
It's pretty vile. Let's be honest. It's pretty goddamn vile.
Yeah. Now the fact that we got to see that, or any hint of that, or any allusion to that, because as I said prior to that, the company has either been a nebulous entity mentioned as only the company, or you see the name of the company on the screen, but it's never actually vocalized, or you see the corporate side of them, the capitalist side, the managerial side. You don't see the other side of it, which is holding the other side up.
Right. And I mean, there's some interesting implications when the Rook, the sort of Ash substitute, when he's talking about why the company is doing what it's doing, why it's so fucking obsessed with getting the alien, why it is so bloody goddamn obsessed with cultivating these things. And he interestingly, he says that, well, humanity is simply ill-equipped. It is not evolutionarily equipped to be out here in the void, in the dark. It gets sick, it starves, it injures itself, it grows old, it dies in childbirth. It needs to be more. It needs a bit of an evolutionary kick up the arse. And that's what they're trying to do. That's ultimately what they're trying to do. They're trying to synthesize, like reverse engineer the alien into the black goo, and then further into what Mr. Weyland originally wanted, which is essentially immortality, right?
Yeah.
It's a way of...
It's interesting that they fed it back to that concept.
Yeah. Which, okay, I get. But I mean, that could have been taken even further. Again, there's a real horror innate to that, isn't there? That, like, corporations are attempting to engage in eugenics, like eugenics with alien technology, genetic technology, in order to create a species of humanity that can sustain and work forever.
Yeah. Now, I'd hate to say that ultimately, that isn't what's happening in real life, really.
Well, that's the thing, right? That's the satire, That's the satire. I mean, like, this is the thing with any kind of futurist dystopia. It's never about the future. It's never about the future. It's about what's happening now. It's a reflection of what's happening now. That's the mistake people always make. They always say, like, about Orwell, 1984 was a warning. No, it wasn't a warning. It was a commentary. It's telling you what things are like now. It's not telling you what things could be like. It's telling you what things are like now.
But it's, I mean, what you were saying earlier, like, is so they've got the black goo, so then you don't see what's happening on the other side of the station. So on the Remus side, are they actually actively experimenting with live test subjects?
Right.
You could have. Maybe that if they hadn't have crashed the whole fucking station into the rings of the planet, that could have been the sequel element. Alien Remus. That could have been
Alien Remus, right? I mean, why not? That would have made sense to me. Like, two films, Romulus and Remus, very interesting concept. Like, conceptually and dynamically, kind of interesting. But as it stands, the Romulus thing is kind of just weird. If I'm honest,
why aren't you and me in charge of this franchise? We'd have fucking nailed this.
I don't know. I ask that about so many things. I asked that about so many things.
all in all, though, I would say, despite the fact that it doesn't hit every mark that it's aiming for, it still does remarkably well with what it does get right. And I think for that, I am thankful. I'm thankful for the world that it generates. So, for example, as I said, looking at the technology, looking at the architecture, the lighting, everything like that, I instantly recognize it as this particular IP, this particular universe, which I had massive problems with in Covenant and Prometheus.
It is.
I couldn't justify the two. You know?
Yeah, it is without a doubt the most successful of the Alien films for a very long time. For a
Yeah.
very long time. Since
And
Alien.
I'm thankful for that. I'm
Yeah,
thankful that it's
good. I mean, that I think is very, very good. There are things that grate on me, that really frustrate me. But I think
yeah,
they're more cultural than anything else. It's because I'm so sick of it. Like generally
yeah,
in cinema, it's a trend.
yeah,
I think that as a piece of cinema, it's very well put together. As a side, like removing it from the Alien franchise, just looking at it as a science fiction horror film, it actually does quite well.
Hmm.
It actually does quite well. It's not a bad piece of work by any stretch of the imagination. It is sometimes a bit too familiar. It hits a few too many familiar beats. It's about an act too long.
yeah.
There's a few bits and
Could
pieces that it could have just
or
away
even
with.
that. Not even get rid of that act, but maybe same runtime, but maybe don't. So you got more time to explore the offspring
Yep.
concept or something like that. Maybe don't
Yep.
focus quite so much on, as you mentioned, the action set pieces that didn't necessarily need to be there. Yeah, because you don't have enough time with ultimately what the film's been building to, which is this hybrid concept.
Mhm.
You've got no time to say hello to it. You've got no time to do anything with it.
And that's a shame because it is technically a new entity.
Yeah,
It would have been nice to see a bit more of it, or not of it, but to know a little bit more of it and to appreciate the real horror of this thing.
yeah.
That
As opposed,
would have been nice.
it just becomes monster of the week at the end of it.
It does just become the next monster, doesn't it? That's all it becomes ultimately, and that's a real shame because there's potential here for some Cronenbergian nightmare fuel.
Yeah. David Cronenberg to direct the next Alien film. I'd watch that. I'd watch the shit out of that.
I'd go for that. The Cronenberg Alien, he would go wild.
Yeah.
You can just imagine, can't you? The body.
That's why he hasn't been given it.
Right. It would probably be a film that you couldn't rate. There couldn't probably be like a rating for it. It would be the most disturbing thing.
Yeah.
Which is, I'd love to see that.
Be fucking brilliant. Yeah.
Fantasy film director attached to a particular franchise. Yeah, I mean, like Cronenberg and the Alien franchise, it would be amazing.
Yeah.
Cronenberg's Alien. Bloody Nora. Can you imagine?
I can, and I want to see it.
See it. I want to see it.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting, and we will be back, right? I mean, there will be.
Yeah. I mean, there's this Alien Earth War or Alien Earth or whatever the fuck it's called. This TV series that's coming out on.
Yeah, I think
guarantee some channel I'm not going to be able to watch it on.
We've got to do it, right? Though if we've got to do it at some point, and new film
episode by episode.
Yeah, I mean, I'm up for that. I'm up for that, definitely. I mean, there's also Alien Isolation 2 coming out, isn't there?
I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I never see the thing is I never completed the first game. I should go back and play it at some point.
Yeah, it's hot. I mean, Alien Isolation is a really difficult, but it is good. I mean, it's a great horror game. It's like edge of the seat tense. It's really, really very, very good indeed.
The AI in it that's used is almost revolutionary.
Yeah, it is something else. It's like that quantum leap that occurred when Half-Life came out.
Yeah.
And the people were commenting on how the AI of the soldiers in that, which was revolutionary at the time. Alien Isolation is like that.
Yeah.
It's such an intelligent stalking monster. Such an intelligent creature.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely be back discussing the new Alien TV series.
We almost got to at this point. We're now almost obliged to do it.
Well, yeah. I mean, it'd be weird not to include it in the overall discussion.
Definitely. I think I'm still waiting for that piece of media that really sets my world aflame in the franchise again. I am still waiting for that, but Romulus is definitely several steps in the right direction.
Maybe the TV show will do that.
Maybe it will. Maybe it will. Maybe that's the format, right? Maybe that's the thing.
I think since HBO sort of did the whole Game of Thrones shit and sort of what else did they do? They did Oz. I think The Sopranos as well. Then when there's been a lean towards cinematic television. The third series of Star Trek Picard was 10 hours of basically like a 10-hour film.
Mhm.
Season 1 of The Last of Us, what was that? 8 episodes, an 8-hour film.
Yeah.
And knowing what you can now put into a TV show, the amount of gore and shit that they get away with on Game of Thrones or fucking anything else that's come out recently, that there is a sustainable market, and as long as the story that's driving it is good and it's there, it justifies itself. So you could do anything with TV now. So maybe it needs to explore that. Yeah.
That's it. I think that is the way to go with this franchise now. I think that's the way to go with the franchise. Let's see what they do.
Yeah. And again, the more, I'm guessing for a TV show, they'd have to rely probably more on the practical element as opposed to anything else. Except for like sort of space shots and shit like that. But I don't know much about the project other than the fact it's supposed to be coming sometime. Is it the first or second quarter in New Year?
Something like that. They've been remarkably tight-lipped about it. Like we've been almost nothing about what it's actually going to be. What is the nature of this? But there's potential. There's huge potential here. Huge.
Yeah.
I mean, like the different eras it could explore. For one thing.
It could explore the story over decades if it wanted to.
Yeah, even centuries. It could go that far. I mean, especially if you've got like android characters in it.
Yeah,
but you will have android.
Oh, undoubtedly. But I'd like to see I'd like to see whatever story they do set way before Alien Resurrection, because by that stage, Weyland-Yutani is bought out by Walmart. It's the most comic book fucking thing that they could have written down.
I think one of the keystones of any future Alien product is we ignore Resurrection. Resurrection never happened.
Yeah, although that is the ultimate testament to capitalism, isn't it? If you think back to now, what the implication of that is, Walmart are now birthing and killing slave workers in mines.
Right. Right. So the satire stands, right?
Yeah.
The satire stands. That's the thing about Weyland-Yutani, isn't it? It's one of those movie companies that's a stand-in for any kind of corporate
OCP.
OCP, obviously, any of them, right? Any of them.
But any story I want to. I want to see that insidious side of Weyland-Yutani coming through more. I want to.
Oh, that's got to be a key part of if any TV series. That's got to be a key part of it.
Weyland, Umbrella,
Umbrella, obviously, Umbrella are Umbrella is kind of like the epitome of, isn't it? Because it's so brainless. That's what I love about Umbrella. There's not even like any reason for that, why they do what they do. Oh, let's just make monsters. Why not?
Okay, yeah. Let's just kill everyone. Yeah, cool.
Let's just kill everyone and turn them into monsters. I mean, that's going to be good for our portfolio, isn't it?
Yeah.
Apparently.
This has been fun.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's been good getting back to grips with it. Well, Jay, before we go, anything to pimp out?
Just like the usual shit that I've been doing on my channel. Still doing the weekly reviews. Still got a new series of 7 Days to Die coming out soon. I've got a series on my unreleased demo tracks, which weirdly enough, this week's demo track is the Strange Playground track.
Yeah, brilliant. Absolute brilliance.
They're talking about the horror of what one has seen and what one is potentially capable of based off their trauma is essentially what the song's about. And that's why I named it after your playlist, because I thought
after my short story collection. Yeah.
It just seemed to make sense. It was like, well,
it makes perfect sense. Yeah, absolutely does. Absolutely does.
I've been doing just like sort of loads of random shit that I haven't quite got my head around yet. I'm planning to put out at some point. I'm going to be doing some more Star Trek Online, because for some reason the first episode of that has now become my most popular video ever, with like 11,000 views or some shit.
Right. So that caught the algorithm.
But it's by far the least funniest episode of the ones that of the 3 that I've done so far.
Right.
I mean, if anyone out there, if anyone wants to watch this, go and watch the 3rd episode where my character has a conversation with his Jewish mother.
Honestly, the what catches the algorithm is the weirdest thing. It
I
is
know.
the weirdest thing. Um, it's like, and the disparity in views as well.
It's
The
fantastic, isn't it? It's
disparity
fucking amazing.
is bizarre. Like my little, my other podcast team, Jack Graham and Elliot Chapman. We did a few years back. We did Clash of the Titans, the original Clash of the Titans.
Hmm.
That is one of the most popular videos on this channel.
Wow.
Don't know why. Don't know why. In fact, we've done loads of other really popular films, but that one really caught fire, and I don't know why.
Yeah, it's like I'll never understand it. I'll never
No,
understand it.
no idea. No idea.
But yeah, various shit coming at various times. I just got no clear idea when because my head's all over the place. But yeah, do keep an eye out for that random shit. Look for me on Twitter if you want. Well, that burns in the fiery pits of hell.
I was going to say. I mean, if you're still on that hell site,
just only fucking barely. Check me out on Blue Skies, where the Wolfkang1 handle is still the same anywhere else. And yeah, that's me in a nutshell. Elon can go suck a nut musk is what he can do.
The greatest example of how being like a billionaire means fuck all in terms of
this whole changing the block thing. So basically, even if you block someone, they can still see your post and that, but they can't interact. It's like one of the
imbecile.
One of the fundamental things about the block button is it protects, taking any demographics, for example, women against stalkers and domestic violence. So the weirdest man on the planet turns around and goes, "Well, I've got to do something about that." Then
yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, I wonder why.
Fucking just
amazing. Absolutely amazing. Never. I mean, what you've got in Twitter is a microcosm of what billionaires are doing to humanity, our societies, and the planet.
The fucking Wayland-Yutani in training.
Yeah,
they are.
Yeah.
I said it. He is fucking Wayland. He is Wayland.
Except Wayland in the fiction is actually reasonably smart and actually is successful. This fucker is just an imbecile who happened to be born into money.
Yeah.
This fucker is just he is the vacuum of identity and personality that happens when you're born into a situation when you want for nothing, when everything is fulfilled and you have no tension driving your development.
Hashtag fuck Musk. There we are.
Yeah, absolutely. As for myself, guys, find me here on Exaggerated Elegy, doing as well as loads of chats like this. Currently playing the Silent Hill 2 remake, which is really, 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 really good. Surprisingly, surprisingly good. Actually, I mean, really.
How did that work? Because I watched that Silent Hill. Was it a demo of the dozy tart in the apartment building there, where I sussed out what the story was within about the first 20 minutes of the first episode?
Yeah, absolute horrific garbage.
That could have been really interesting. What that was setting up, and I sussed it and I went, it's going to be this, isn't it?
Yeah, it could have been, but it wasn't. It was just badly handled. This, on the other hand, the remake is amazing. It's just absolutely amazing. Bloober team that Konami farmed it out to have just, hit.
Just sell the fucking IP.
Yeah,
just sell it.
They get it.
Capcom will buy it off them in an instant.
Yeah. I mean, sell it to Bloober for God's sake. They get it. They get it. We're also coming up to the end of October, so we will be doing our annual Spooktober season, and we're doing it's going to be a loose folk horror theme this time. We're starting with Midsommar very, very soon. That's coming up relatively soon. If you go over to Ginger Nuts of Horror, you'll find the ongoing My Life in Horror series of articles and essays, which is my non-fiction writing. It's a series of articles about like the horror and the media in general, actually, that have influenced me down the years. So that's fun. Go over to Arrow Films and look for the Quartet of Torment UHD and set. Yeah, the Hellraiser set. Myself and my colleague Kit Power were on the Hellbound disc. On the featurette, Hell is What They Wanted. 1 hour and 48-minute chat about Hellraiser and Clive Barker and all sorts of stuff. It's brilliant fun, and we are very, very proud of that. If you want to buy any of my published fiction, go over to strangeplaygrounds.com and you'll find links to all of my short story collections. Or if you go onto the Evil Empire of Amazon and type in George Daniel Lee, you'll find my my Amazon author page. You can buy everything there. You can also buy the anthologies that I've been published in as well, by the way. There's quite a few of them out there, like, odd little short stories and things that have been published in different anthologies and things like that. And I think that's me. Jer, thanks again.
Yes, man.
No,
I've enjoyed this one. I've been
really,
sitting on this for weeks because I was
right.
very looking forward to this one.
It has been good. It's been really, really good. So,
and it's nice to actually look forward to it as opposed to getting ever closer to the Prometheus chat. I think this has got to happen sooner or later.
Where it's, instead of it being ominous, instead of it being like foreboding,
I've got something positive to talk about again. That counts for a lot more than most people would realise.
It is nice, actually. It is nice. So until next time, guys. Bye bye.
Take care.